Hey people, it is day number 4 of your at-home training. We've got an interesting one today, one that is going to give you some options here as far as your deadlift goes. And we're going to make it fun. You're going to find something creative around the house to lift. We're going to lift all the heavy things. So let's go ahead and get started with some arm swings here. And one up and one down. So I want you to, when you get done with this workout today, I want you to let me know, post in the comments, let me know which minute was the most challenging here. I just tried the first round of this workout, those jumping lunges, if you choose to do those, they're definitely going to be a challenge. Going a full minute of jumping lunges is, you're gonna have to pace it. But I want you to let me know what you found the most challenging here. All right, hands in the hips here, spreading those feet a little bit. Some big hip circles. If you've been following along, you know we want to keep that back as flat as we can through the bottom of that hip circle here. That's going to give us a little extra stretch in the hamstrings versus just letting that back round. So we want to keep it nice and flat. And then go ahead and turn those heels out here so your heels are wider than your toes. Reaching down in front of you, tapping the ground. In between your feet, tapping, and then behind you. So same thing here, you're gonna get a little extra if you're really focused on that solid back position. So make sure you're pushing your butt back like you'd be setting up for a deadlift. And just one more time, furthest reach out, all the way up, tapping in between, and then furthest reach back. Then go ahead and turn those toes wide here. We're gonna come down, and once we come down here, you're looking between your knees. We're just gonna cross those arms, and we're gonna hang here. We're not worrying about that flat back. We're just hanging, looking between those knees, taking some deep breaths. Getting a little deeper into that stretch. And then you're gonna go ahead and walk those hands over to that left side. And then walking over to the right side. Back over to the left side. And if you're feeling froggy here, you're gonna take your right hand, you're gonna grab that left foot. I'm not great at this, but you're going to rotate and try to think about getting that chest to face the ceiling here. Big rotation. And then back down, walking over to the other side. Same thing on that other side. Big reach, holding it. And then walking back over to that left side. And we're gonna point the toes to the left. We're gonna drop that back knee. We're gonna posture up here. We're gonna rock back. Now we're gonna scoop the hips under. So if you've never taken a close look at this, we're turning the pelvis under here. We're squeezing the glutes on the back side. And then we're just shifting those hips forward until we feel a stretch here in this back quad and this hip flexor as well. So we do this when we do glute dominant movements because it's gonna help open up the hip. The glutes extend the hip, but if we're super tight in our hip flexors and our quads, this tightness can restrict a good contraction from our glutes because we can't push our hips forward far enough. Go ahead and take those hands outside of that front foot. Straighten out that front leg, drive that back heel to the ground. Should be feeling a stretch in that front hamstring here, the back of the thigh. And then go ahead and walk those hands to the other side, pointing those toes to the right this time. And then posturing up nice and tall. Again, rocking back, scooping the hips under, squeezing the glutes, casting forward till you feel that good stretch. Go ahead and take those hands outside of that front foot. Straighten them out here, driving that back heel to the ground as well. Don't forget, not only is this a hamstring stretch in the front, it's a calf stretch in the back. All right. Come on up, bring those feet underneath you. You should be ready for some lunges now. We're gonna go reverse step lunges. So remember, when we're doing these reverse step lunges, we're driving that front knee out here. If this is causing you pain, if the lunge is just not for you, feel free to do some squats here. That is one of your scaling options in your workout today. Okay, now the next lunge progression we're gonna do is we're gonna lunge back, and then we're just gonna violently extend our hips, drive through that front leg, and we're gonna come to standing. Then we're gonna jump into that next lunge, pop up to that standing position, and so forth. Obviously, if this is just a little too much for you, just stick with that reverse lunge. Make sure to slow it down. We're just getting warmed up here. We've got plenty more lunges to come. If that still feels good, you're gonna go ahead and start in your lunge position. And then you're gonna try to transition all the way to that other side here. Still keeping that shin as vertical as possible in that front leg and driving that knee out. All right, I think we got those legs plenty warmed up. Go ahead and put your hands on your hips here. All of those lunges were progressions that you're gonna be doing in your workout, with the least advanced progression being just an air squat. So we're gonna do something similar with our deadlift here. We got some single leg RDL options. But what you should be doing now is just pushing your butt back and squeezing those glutes. Now we're gonna go ahead and take the hands to the back of the head. Now you shouldn't be pushing on the back of your head. Your fingers should be nice and light here. You're just squeezing your glutes. Then we're gonna go hands overhead. Each one of these progressions should feel a little bit more intense. Should feel a little bit more stretch in your hamstrings as you go. But we never wanna go further than where we can keep a nice solid lumbar curve. So if I'm hinging out, and I start to get some rounding like this is too far for me. I just want to push back, feel that good stretch in my hamstrings, and then come back up. Now we're going to go 1 foot here, and we're going to do this V-step style hinge pattern. So this back foot, this toe is very, very lightly on the ground here. All I'm doing is the same exact thing. If you've got a mirror close by, it's kind of nice to be able to look in the mirror, make sure you're keeping that neutral spine. Now, same thing here. We're going to go arms to the back of the head. Couple reps here. This should feel a little bit more challenging. This should feel a little bit like work. And then we're going to go hands out overhead. Okay, now this is getting hard. Slow it down if you need to. And then go ahead and switch sides here. Working that right leg this time. Left toes on the ground, pushing back, squeezing. Obviously, if that V-step, hands overhead lunge, or a hands overhead RDL is just too much for you, just stick with whatever progression is most comfortable for you. Go ahead and go hands back of the head. Couple reps here. Couple reps, hands overhead here, really stretching out. Squeezing those glutes at the top. All right, shake those legs out a little bit. Then go ahead, meet me on the floor. Now, if you haven't gotten everything that you needed for the workout, we'll take a second here, let your legs rest. But for the workout today, for the rest of our warm up, you're gonna need a towel to do some stretching here. You might need you need something heavy. It might be a case of water, could be a backpack or a dumbbell. If you haven't got a barbell, even better. But if you want to pause for a second and grab that stuff now, that's fine. If you want to wait till after your warm up, that's fine too. Next step here, we're going to go ahead and go through our hollow progression. So the hollow rock, I want you to start on your back here. And you're going to have your hands on your knees, just like you were playing popcorn on the trampoline when you were a kid. So notice my shoulder blades are rolled up here. My lower back is contacting the ground. So the first step here is you're going to keep that low back pressed into the floor. All you're going to do is you're going to release your hands and put your hands by your side, hovering them off the ground about 6 inches. Your core should activate here. You should feel like, hey, I'm working now. Next step, go ahead, extend one leg, still keeping that lower back on the ground. Then go ahead and extend the other leg. Should really feel challenging at this point. And then you're going to go arms overhead and relax. So if you're doing this right, you can hear my voice shaking a little bit. This is really, you're going to feel a hard contraction in your abs, and you're also going to experience some mounding of your ab muscles in the middle of your belly here. That's kind of one of the tells that lets us know we're doing it right. Also, you should not have any space under your lumbar spine here. That back should be flat on the ground. So we're going to do it one more time. Popcorn position, low back pressed in. Release those hands. Hands go by the side. Go ahead and extend one leg, then the other leg, arms overhead, and relax. So in your workout today, you're going to be doing some type of hollow rock. So the most challenging hollow rock is going to be that fully extended position here. Low back is still flat. And you notice there's a smooth transition here from kind of my upper glutes to my lower back to my upper back. So should I be like this? If it feels like you're knocking the breath out of yourself, you probably need to scale back that progression so you can keep that proper spinal position. So that's going to be the most challenging. Next in line is going to be one knee tucked. So you got one knee in, hands still extended overhead, toes still pointed. I'm going to encourage you to do this before you do this. This is going to be a little less challenging. All right? Your next hollow rock option is going to be your fully bent hollow rock. So it's going to look like this. Still rocking. This is still going to be challenging, especially for a minute. Your final option is to just hold that bent hollow pose. So that's just going to be here. You're just going to be holding for as many seconds as possible. All right? Once you've selected the option that you feel like you can be relatively consistent with for, say, 60 seconds, go ahead and take those heels in close to your butt, hands by your side. Go ahead and knock out 10 glute bridges. Tapping your butt to the ground. Big squeeze at the top. 10 reps. Once you got those 10 reps, you're going to go ahead and grab that towel. We're just going to do some stretching here, kind of final part of our warm-up. So you're just going to start in this pike position. You're going to take that towel around your feet here. You're going to start nice and tall. So we got that nice spinal alignment that we've been talking about. And we're just going to hinge over. You should be feeling this in the backs of your hamstrings here. If you're feeling it a ton in your calves, just take those toes, point them away from you. That's going to relieve some tension in your calves and the back of your knee. And you're just going to pull into that a little bit more. Now go ahead and relax that low back. Round down, looking at your knees here in this pike stretch. All right, then go ahead and take that towel around just one foot. Go ahead and lie back. We want this non-working foot. We want that heel solidly planted on the ground here, nice and straight. We're going to point that toe up, and we're going to pull that foot in towards us. Big hamstring stretch here on my right leg. From here, if that band is around your right foot, you're going to grab both ends of that towel, and you're going to let that right foot fall off to the right. You should be feeling this in your adductors. That's those muscles and kind of your inner thigh on that right side. And we're going to take it back center. We're going to switch hands. So grabbing with the left this time. We're going to keep the right shoulder blade planted on the ground. And then we're going to take that left foot to the ground on the opposite side. And we're going back center, grabbing both ends of that towel and switching feet. Starting with that hamstring stretch, toe pointed up to the ceiling, pulling in towards you. Remember, if you're feeling this too much in your calf and not at all in your hamstring, just point that toe up, relieve some of that tension. Now go ahead and grab both ends of that towel in that left hand. Go ahead and let that leg fall off to the left. Again, feeling this stretch in your adductors, those muscles in your inner thigh. And then back center, grabbing that towel with your right hand, left shoulder blade stays put, taking that right or that left foot off to the right side. All right, you're coming back center here. Go ahead and relaxing. And let's go ahead and talk about your workout today. So, we got a ton of options here. I'm going to talk through what they all look like. But everybody's going to be doing 3 rounds, 1 minute of work, 30 seconds of rest on 3 different movements. So yesterday we had our 8 count bodybuilder workout mixed with some running or jump rope, and that should have been a lung burner and a shoulder burner. This, you're not going to get your heart rate up tremendously. It might spike up a little bit during that lunge variation, but really this is going to be about deep muscle burn. So you can expect your hamstrings, your glutes to burn, your quads in that lunge variation, and definitely your abs in your hollow rock or your hollow hold. So let's go ahead and talk about some of our options here as far as our deadlift. So at the top level here, you're going to be doing a single leg RDL, just like we did in our warm-up. And at that top tier, that top option, you want to try to find some weights that you can hold overhead. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that B step, we're going to plant that toe on the ground for balance here. We're going to take our dumbbells or maybe our water bottles or whatever weights we have, and we're going to press them out overhead. And then from here, we're going to keep those arms extended. We're going to push our butt back as far as we can go while keeping that neutral spine, coming back up. Now, if you're doing that single leg variation, you're going to have to make sure you do 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other. That disadvantaged leverage of having that weight overhead is really going to increase the intensity here. Your next option here in the blue is going to be doing something similar here, except you're going to have those weights by your shoulders. So similar option, still B-stepping, pushing back, just like this. If you've got a kettlebell, holding that kettlebell on your back behind your shoulder blades is a great option. But same thing, 30-30 there. Your next option is going to be doing that same B-step, but then starting with those weights here by your waist. And you can do this, you can get creative with this one. You can do a backpack maybe full of books. You can do a case of water in front of you, but it's going to be similar. And then once we scale down, once we get out of that single leg variation in the orange, we're doing regular conventional deadlifts. So if you've got dumbbells, dumbbell deadlifts here are a great option. It's going to be a more narrow stance here. Same mechanics apply though. We're keeping that neutral spine. We're touching those dumbbells to the ground and we're standing back up. Now, if you're doing this with odd objects and you don't have one object in each hand, but you've got a single object to hold here, you may have to go wider into a bit of a sumo deadlift. So that means I've got my case of water, I've got my backpack here, and then I'm pushing my butt back and I'm getting that thing to the ground and back up. Making sure to drive those knees out. This variation is going to allow you to keep your chest a little bit taller here. Still going to work perfectly fine. It's a nice thing about doing it for a minute instead of doing it for reps. You can go faster or slower and change the intensity. So Once you're done with your 1 minute of deadlifts here, you're gonna rest for 30 seconds, and then you're gonna go into your lunge variation. So we've already done our different lunges. At the very top level, you're gonna be doing this dynamic switch from one lunge position to the other, scaling that back by jumping center, jumping into your next lunge, center, into that next one, and so forth. And then it's gonna scale back into your reverse lunge. Now, if you've experienced knee pain in lunges before, the reverse lunge can sometimes be a little easier on the knees than that front lunge. So when you're doing this, you're gonna think about trying to keep that knee angle open. So we don't wanna do this and close down this knee angle. We wanna take big steps back and think about keeping those shins as vertical as we can. This might help alleviate some pain. If you're still experiencing pain, you can try to switch to a step up. Just find something around the house that's 12 inches or higher, and you can switch to that step up as well, or even a running man if you know that variation. As this scales down, it scales all the way down into squats. Squats are also good, as I mentioned, if you're having knee pain. Make sure as you're doing those squats, it's really easy when we're doing body weight squats for time to get into something that looks like this. Okay, we want to make sure that we're not twerking, that we're actually reaching full knee and hip extension and standing tall in between each rep. If you think about squeezing your glutes at the top of that range of motion, you'll automatically do that. Your last movement here is that hollow rock. Again, we've gone over those hollow rock options, but it starts fully extended here. All of our options get a smooth transition from our upper glutes here to our upper back. Then it goes here. And then finally, full tuck, arms by the side. That's still challenging, okay? So your goal today is to get in 200 plus reps. If you're doing a single leg variation on the deadlift, you're not gonna be able to accumulate more than maybe 15 reps if you're choosing a challenging option. And then you're looking to accumulate maybe 20 to 30 reps on the other two movements here. Just a little forewarning, if you're choosing any jumping lunge variation, you're really going to have to pace that minute. If you're going super consistent from one to the other, you're gonna get through 30 seconds and you're gonna feel completely dead. So make sure you're pacing that option. Also, if your hollow rock starts to break down, you're just gonna have to be strategic about how you try to get those reps in. So maybe you're choosing a really challenging progression, and so you're doing 25 seconds of hollow rocks, you're taking a little 10-second rest, and you're doing another 25 seconds of hollow rocks. That'll help kind of get you through without completely burning you out. So, you're gonna perform 3 rounds of all 3 movements, a minute of work, 30 seconds of rest. Once you get done with that, your cash out today is gonna be just a 10-minute jog. You're going to need to flush out that lactic acid from your quads, your glutes, and your hamstrings. So start really slow until you kind of get your legs back, and pick up that pace a little bit and try to flush out those cellular constituents and save yourself some soreness. So post your reps into the comments, and I look forward to hearing how you guys do on this, and also which interval you found to be the most challenging. See you guys soon.